Esha dharma vritam shrestho lokam dharmenu vartayan gopta cha dharma sestunam shasta tat paripantinam. Esha dharma vrita shrestho lokam dharmenu vartayan gopta cha dharma setunam shasta tat paripantinam. Esha dharma vritam shrestho lokam dharmenu vartayan gopta cha dharma setunam shastha tat paripantinam. Word for word. Eshaha, this King Prithu, dharma britam, of persons executing religious activities. Shreshtaha, the best. Lokam, the whole world. Dharme, in religious activities. Anuvartayan, engaging them properly. Gopta, the protector. Cha, also. Dharma setunam, of the principles of religion. Shastha, the chastiser. Tat paripantinam, of those who are against religious religious principles. Translation. This king, Maharaj Prithu, is the best amongst those who are following the religious principles. As such, he will engage everyone in the pursuit of religious principles and give those principles all protection. He will also be a great chastiser to the irreligious and atheistic. Purport. The duty of the king or the head of government is described very nicely in this verse. It is the duty of the government head to see that people strictly follow the religious life. A king should also be strict in chastising the atheists. In other words, an atheistic or godless government should never be supported by a king or governmental chief. That is the test of good government. In the name of secular government, the king or governmental head remains neutral and allows people to engage in all sorts of irreligious activities. In such a state, people cannot be happy, despite all economic development. However, in this age of Kali, there is no pious kings. Instead, rogues and thieves are elected to be heads of government. But how can the people be happy without religion or God consciousness? The rogues exact taxes from the citizens for their own sense enjoyment. And in the future, the people will be so much harassed that according to the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, they will flee from their homes and country and take shelter in the forests. However, in the Kali Yuga, democratic government can be captured by Krishna-conscious people. If this can be done, then the general populace can be made very happy. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Homa Yajna timirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Indridumna Swaminiti Namine Namo Prabhupada Pridasaya Jagannatha Yatrananda Murtaye Bhaktasukena Krishna Kirtanena Narasimhena Rakshataya Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangulam Gayate Grim Yakripa Tabaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Yevacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. It's so nice in Prabhupada's Pranamantra, right? Nirvishesha Sunyavadi, right? He destroys the atheistic people. This is what he came to the West to do. So same like Maharaj Prithu. So today is also the appearance day of Sri Advaita Acharya. It's the first of our 5 Panchatattva, and so there's gonna be a series of appearance days coming up, and many wonderful pastimes will be described, and we have much to hear about. But today's verse is also very much related to the reason why Advaita Acharya appeared. Right? Because irreligion became prominent, because people were suffering in this world. So I thought it would be still good to speak on the verse of today and then connect it to the appearance day of Advaita Acharya. Right? So today's verse, Prabhupada in the purport is pointing out how people cannot be happy in a world or in a state, in a country that is where irreligion is prominent, right? One cannot be happy performing sinful activities. The happiness that one gets is so temporary, more temporary than those who follow pious activities. It comes and goes almost instantly, the happiness derived by religious activities. Immediately one is worried. By nature, one is worried. One is suffering from the anxiety of when the repercussions will come, whether one knows it or not. Yeah? Someone steals something, he's eating the thing he stole or enjoying the money that he stole. And at the same time, he's suffering because he's thinking, oh, any moment the police will come and catch me. Any moment this person will come and accuse me of stealing. Any moment what I have will be gone. He hears a siren in the background and immediately, his hairs stand on end because he's scared. That's not enjoyment, right? Instinctively, we know when we do something wrong that the repercussions are coming, whether we want them or not. And so this happiness that's derived from sinful activities is the most fleeting, let's say, right? From pious activity, you do something right, you feel more pleased. And even though that results are also fleeting or also temporary, still, they're of a better nature. So Prabhupada's pointing out how in such a state or such a country where irreligion is prominent, where it's freely allowed, one cannot be happy. And now we see how much Kali Yuga has progressed, that even irreligion or, let's say, sinful activity has become relative. By relative, I mean that it depends on what people do and what people say. If a large group of people say that something is not wrong, it becomes not wrong. Right? If a large group of people say that this is okay to do, all of a sudden it's okay. Yeah. Consumption of alcohol has become so widespread and normalized that all over the world you'll see it advertised in big billboards for everyone to see, propaganda in the TV, all non-stop about different types of alcohol. But just 200 years ago, it was something shameful. In America, what now is, let's say, the poster boy for drinking, right? Even there, it was the prohibition. The government, they made a place in the middle of the desert. It would take weeks through, cart ride to get to this spot in Las Vegas. It was in the middle of a desert. So the government said, okay, if you want to go crazy, if you want to perform these activities, you go there, where no one would want to go. But Kali Yuga is so powerful, now Las Vegas is world-renowned place of enjoyment, right? One of the biggest and most prominent cities where the most amount of money comes through. Originally, the government thought, okay, it's in a desert, a few crazy people will go there, they'll kill each other, and then that's it. It'll be done with. It won't have to affect society. But look what happened. Right? Wherever Kali is, it manifests, it grows, it gets bigger. So just a few hundred years ago, this was considered something wrong. Now it's something right. Right? Drug addiction before was something very condemned. People would feel very shy and embarrassed if someone in their family became an addict. Now, marijuana is legal, most places in the world. Taking intoxication, taking some sort of addictive things, right? Something normal, simply because people say so. Now, of course, we have so many other things that have become normalized. Abortion, for example, right? This theory that it's my body, so it's my choice, it's just one step away of just saying it's my child, so it's my choice. It's the same thing, right? But it's become normalized because everyone says so. It's become something that's not sinful. It's become something that it's okay. It's something that you can run on the street and advertise, yes, I want this, I want this, I want this. Right? I mean, now you see it all the time. Christians, they go to the universities, they go to the colleges, and they're propagating, right, how wrong it is in something. But what happens to them? They're constantly attacked. Because people want this. And so now it's become normalized. Murder has become normalized. Right? Divorce has become normalized. Families breaking apart has become normalized. Everything becomes normalized because there is no basis. The government has no say. They simply want the votes of the people. So if the people vote such a way, something becomes good. People vote such a way, something becomes bad. Now religion is bad. Talking about God is bad. In the school books, they're cutting out everything to do with God because then you're making people feel bad that they're not of a certain religion or they don't believe in God. So you see how far it's going. And in such a state, in such a place, there cannot be happiness. It's pointed out how today in nature we see the quality of government, we see the quality of management depending on the economic failure or success. If, the economy goes up under a certain president, he was a good president. If the economy goes down, he was a bad president. That's all that matters to them. Nothing else matters. But you see, in the time of Maharaj Prithu, not only would he propagate and engage everyone properly in their religious activities, he was protecting the principles. What does that mean? That it doesn't matter how many thousands of citizens would say such a thing. He knows the principle to be such. And he's not going to change it. He was protecting the principles. That's what it says in the verse. Right? So such a government is what we need now. The example of Parikshit Maharaj comes to mind. Right? When he was going to kill Kali for destroying the legs of the bull. Right? He told Kali, okay, since you've taken shelter, I won't kill you, but you should go and you can reside in a place where the four principles are being broken, right? Meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, and gambling. In those places you go. What did Kali say? There is no such place under your leadership. Under your rule, there's no place in the world where these things happen. So where am I supposed to live? Yeah, Haribol, right? That's the leader. That's Parikshit Maharaj. And that was right at the beginning of Kali Yuga. It wasn't that long ago. We're not talking Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga. Under his leadership, there was no place for Kali to go. And so Parikshit Maharaj had to give him an alternative. Wherever gold is being hoarded, right? Those places he was able to go and live because there were none of these other activities happening underneath his rule. So such leaders is what we need now. But then, of course, you think now Prabhupada's talking about how now, with democratic government, how people can be elected. You see the changes in society, how much greater, right? As Kali Yuga gets worse, there's also parts of it that gets way better because people are realizing how bad it's becoming. People are realizing how bad it's getting and it's coming to their senses. So there's such a great community of people who are now turning to vegetarianism, understanding that this way of life is not right, simple living, high thinking. So those people are very open-minded and ready to accept something greater because they understand they're not happy. So the worse it gets, easier it is for them to accept it. Yeah, you see what's happening now is something that happened before, right? This idea that whatever people do in general, this is okay. This is how socialism started. This is how so many parties in the past were able to convince people of doing horrible atrocities because everyone else was doing the same. Slavery, right? Concentration camps here in Germany. All these things happened because everyone just went with the flow. Everyone else said so I'll do it too. Everyone says such, so it's okay. It's become normalized. So now so many other things have become normalized. But with this, with the progression of Jai Shri Nrsimha Bhagavan Ki Jai. So with the progression of Kali Yuga, also many people are turning away from this kind of lifestyle and becoming more ready to accept Krishna consciousness. And so the best thing we can do in order to help and to make a significant difference is to first change this in ourselves. Right? Understand and really follow very strictly the rules and regulations, and follow very strictly the preaching of Srila Prabhupada in his books, so that we do not become wavered by general opinion, by general what everyone else wants to do, what everyone else is following, what everyone else is thinking that is okay. We know our principles, we know what Prabhupada is saying in the purports, and we follow it for ourselves. Then, when we want to preach and we want to tell someone else, it will have effect. There'll be some Shakti there, there'll be some power there that you can convince someone because you yourself believe it. And this is the way how we can affect change. Yeah? So, moving on to the pastime of Advaitacharya. Advaitacharya was seeing exactly this. Advaitacharya, he's non-different from Mahavishnu, he's non-different from Paramatma. He was seeing the suffering of the living entities, right? And so he was really feeling the suffering that's happening at that time when he was here, and he was seeing what was to come in the future. And he knew that if Mahaprabhu didn't come to this world, where would we be now? If Mahaprabhu didn't come and change the way that the world was going and give us an alternative, where would we be? So this feeling of compassion that Advaitacharya had is unparalleled. No one can match his feeling of this intense compassion and urgency to do something to bring Mahaprabhu. So this pastime of Advaitacharya is something very, very, very important for us to understand, important to us, for us to appreciate, to feel gratitude, and so therefore be able to encourage us to do something for Advaitacharya, to do something for Srila Prabhupada, to do something for our acharyas that have given us so much. So we'll speak a bit about Advaitacharya and who he is, his magnanimity, his compassion, and hopefully therefore understand a little bit of what he gave us. So we'll begin with, from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela 113. We have Advaitam Harina Advaitad Acharyam Bhakti Samshanat Bhaktavataram Isham Tam Advaitacharyam Ashraye. So because he is non-different from Hari, the Supreme Lord, he is called Advaita. And because he propagates the cult of devotion, he is called Acharya. He is the Lord and the incarnation of the Lord's devotee. Therefore, I take shelter of him. Right? Advaitacharya is the Lord. He's non-different from the Lord. And at the same time, he's the incarnation of the Lord's devotee. That's why he's called Bhaktavatara, incarnation of the Lord's devotee. And through Acharya Prabhupada analyzes in the translation to this verse, in the purport to this verse, Prabhupada says that Acharya means one who spreads Krishna consciousness. Right? You have Bhajananandis and Goshtyanandis. Acharya is one who spreads, one who's giving it freely, who sees the necessity and is therefore spreading through his example and spreading to everyone else the process of devotional service. So therefore he's called Advaitacharya. He's the Lord and he's spreading Krishna consciousness. Therefore he's Advaitacharya. Yeah? Advaitacharya was born in the year 1434. Yeah? In the lunar calendar was 7th day of the waxing month of Magh. Magh is this month now and it's the waxing moon. Yeah? So he was on the 7th day, Saptami. So it's called Advaita Saptami. His father's name was Kubera Pandit and his mother's name was Naba Devi. And so Advaita was born on the area on the border of West Bengal now and Bangladesh. Today Bangladesh, but he was born there. And he grew up already from a very young age. He was extremely inclined to everything to do with devotional service. His parents were great devotees, and they were very eager to have a son who can basically bring up the quality of their family, to bring everyone back to Godhead. That was their mentality, that we'll have such a son, there'll be such a devotee who will take us back to Godhead. Little did they know that they had a son who will take the whole world back to Godhead. But their prayer was so powerful that Advaita Acharya came. And Advaita Acharya, at a young age, he decided to go on pilgrimage. Yeah, and then he went to Vrindavan, Mathura. He met with Madhavendra Puri. He got initiated by Madhavendra Puri. And it was around that time where he got the deity of Madan Gopal, or as we know today, Madan Mohan. Yeah, he found the deity of Madan Mohan in a place called, it's the Yoga Pit, but it's there near Kaliagat in Vrindavan. He found the deity of Madan Gopal at that time, and he began to worship him. And that deity is our Sambandha Adideva. It's the deity of Sambandha, of connecting ourselves to the Lord through Advaita Acharya. So after Advaita Acharya worshipped this Madan Gopal deity for many years, he gave him to his disciple, and his disciple gave the deity to Sanatana Goswami. So that's how it came into our, how would I say, that we know this deity now as Madan Mohan. Yeah? Advaita Acharya, he, just like all our other acharyas, are the personification of mercy and compassion. You see, the idea of devotional service is to please the Lord. And so the highest devotional service, as Krishna says, is those who preach my message. They're considered the highest, most dear to me. So if you want to please the Lord the most, you should distribute his message. And so all of our acharyas have followed in that line of distributing what they have received from their spiritual masters. And so Advaita Acharya was that one who initially decided that this message has to go to everyone. This message has to be preached to everyone. All the other avatars who came before him, they came to do a specific activity. They, reestablished religion, destroyed the asuras and the demons. But Advaita Acharya was the one who said that no, now the people of this world need a chance all to go back to Godhead. And for that, we have to get Krishna in the form as a devotee to show them how to be devotees, how to go back to Godhead, how to serve the Lord. And so he called the Lord in that form, right? It said in Bhagavatam, there's the verse that describes, actually I'll just quote it here. Here, text, so this is Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila chapter 3, text 111. Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita hrit saroja ashe shrute kshitapato nanunata pumsam yadyad dhiya tad urugaya vibhavayanti tad vipu pranasyase sad anugrahaya. O my Lord, you always dwell in the vision and hearing of your pure devotees. You also live in their lotus-like hearts, which are purified by devotional service. O my Lord, who are glorified by exalted prayers, you show your special favor to your devotees by manifesting yourself in the eternal forms in which they welcome you. In which they welcome you, right? Advaita Acharya, he was welcoming the Lord in that form as a devotee because he needed the Lord to distribute bhakti. The Lord advanced himself in this world according to the desire of their devotees. Right? So Prahlad Maharaj needed Nrsingadev to come in a certain form. He came in this form. Right? Other devotees, they needed the Lord to come, like for Varahadev. Why did he come as a boar? Many people don't understand. Why a boar? Why did he come as a boar, right? Anyone has an idea why he came as a boar? But why boar?
Because the boar, they stay in this...
Exactly. Yeah.
To take the earth out.
Exactly. The boars, they're expert at finding stuff in the mud, right? You see them, they'll be sifting through the mud with their nose, and they'll find the smallest little food particles inside the mud. So the earth is a tiny little globe inside the vast causal ocean, right? Inside the Garbhodaka ocean. And so the Lord came as a boar because they're the perfect animal to be able to find in that way. And so another name for Varahadev is Shushruta. Shushruta because he is he is Shushruta. Shushruta is that activity of searching, like what boars do, right? So when Rahadev came and he was searching at the bottom of the ocean for the earth, right? He was searching like that with his nose, and he was splashing this water all over the 14 planetary systems, and they called him that name, right? Shukara Rupa, right? So he comes in that form that he's Shushruta, he's searching. So that's why Vraha came in that form. Kurma Avatar came as a tortoise, right? Perfect, the place where the mountain could sit and turn. So according to what the devotees need and are requesting the Lord to do, he comes in such a form. So when Advaita Acharya was requesting the Lord to come, he wasn't asking him to come as Nrsingadev, he wasn't asking him to come as some warrior-like, he was asking him to come as a devotee, to be able to show everyone through his example how to be the perfect devotee. So we have Advaita Acharya to thank and to appreciate for the advent of Mahaprabhu. For everything Mahaprabhu did, we have Advaita Acharya to appreciate, because it was through his prayers that Mahaprabhu came in such a form. When we understand this, it really makes a big difference. Mahaprabhu, of course, wanted to come anyway, but he waited for Advaita Acharya to ask him to come in order to glorify his devotee. So both ways, there was a reciprocation of love. Advaita Acharya, right? He was thinking that in this world, at this time, people are looking for so many solutions for so many problems they have, right? They get sick, what do? Take more medicine. They get weak, they can't, enjoy as they used to. There's so many other ways in which they can keep the person alive, keep him going, keeping him, now we have so many medicines that even people who have allergy to eating milk or eating gluten or eating so many things, take a pill and they can eat whatever they want. So instead of just accepting that this is my karma, I'm not able to eat these certain things, no, I'd rather take a pill, take an injection, and then be able to eat whatever I want. Anything but stop my enjoyment, right? So in this world, we're finding so many solutions to so many material problems. But the real problem, birth, death, old age, disease, right? This is the real problem we don't have the solution for, right? No one is looking for that solution. So this is what Advaita Acharya was seeing. This is what Advaita Acharya was noticing, that in this world, everyone's looking for solutions and they're not able to find a solution for the real reason of their suffering, which is they're in this material world instead of being back with Krishna. All right, so this is also from Chaitanya Charitamrita, same chapter, chapter 3, text 97, right? Everyone was engaged in material enjoyment, whether sinfully or virtuously, right? Whether they're doing it sinfully or whether they're doing it through pious activities, right? Through karma kanda, they were engaged in material enjoyment. No one was interested in the transcendental service of the Lord, which can give total relief from the repetition of birth and death. This is what Advaita Acharya is saying, right? He's saying that no one was interested. And Prabhupada in the purport so perfectly puts it. He says, Advaita Acharya saw the entire world to be engaged in the activities of material piety and impiety, without a trace of devotional service. The fact is that in this material world, there is no scarcity of anything except Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada says that's very straightforward. There's no scarcity. He says, material necessities are supplied by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. We sometimes feel scarcity, but it is because of our mismanagement. Right? Sometimes we feel that, there's not enough food in certain places or not enough this and that place. It's because of our mismanagement, and therefore we're getting the karma. Everyone in India, every family knows, right? If you throw prasadam away, you won't get it the next time you need it, right? Narhari Maharaji is always saying this. If you throw something away when you really need it, you won't have it. If you waste something, you don't have it when you need it. This is the principle of karma. So our mismanagement causes this so-called scarcity of our necessities, but it's all supplied by the Lord. But the real problem is that people are out of touch with Krishna consciousness. Everyone is engaged in material sense gratification, but people have no plan for making the ultimate solution for their real problems, namely birth, disease, old age, and death. That is the real problems we have in this world. And so Advaita Acharya noticed that no one in this world was looking for those solutions. Everyone was looking for other solutions. And the thing that pained Advaita Acharya the most was saying that people were so desperate to end their misery that they were turning towards impersonalism. Impersonalism is, at the root of it, is people realize we're suffering. They understand relationships in this world give us pain. Form in this world give us pain, right? Activities in this world give us pain. So what's the solution? No activity, no form, no relationship. If something's bad, we throw it out. So it's a misunderstanding of the solution. People are so aggrieved and pained in this world that they think that the solution is to throw it all away. It's kind of like nowadays you see a very common, someone has a bad relationship, right? Has a bad breakup. And their solution is no more relationships. I won't have a girlfriend anymore. I won't have a boyfriend anymore. I'm never going to get married. I never want, right? Even people see in their parents have a bad relationship and they're fighting, arguing, a bad breakup, divorce. And the children, they turn away from any sort of idea of marriage or love because they're so much pained, right? So this is what impersonalism is. That instead of looking for the perfect relationship with God, you think that no, God has no form, God has no relationship, God has no activities. So Advaita Acharya, seeing the suffering of people was so much that they even were willing to turn to impersonalism. That pained him. And so to be able to show that no, we don't merge with God, God has to come himself. And so therefore Advaita Acharya was convinced that we have to bring Mahaprabhu, we have to bring the Lord himself. The suffering he couldn't tolerate, right? Seeing the activities of the world, Advaita felt compassion and began to ponder on how he could act for the people's benefit. Advaita Acharya thought, if Sri Krishna were to appear as an incarnation, he himself could preach the devotion by his personal example. This is Advaita Acharya thinking. So the Lord has to come as a devotee, and he has to show through his own example of how to be a devotee. This was the desire of Advaita Acharya. And so therefore Advaita Acharya, right, he said, in this age of Kali, there is no religion other than the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. But how in this age will the Lord appear as an incarnation? He's asking himself. I shall worship Krishna with a purified state of mind, and I shall constantly petition him in humbleness. Right? He's thinking, I'll ask the Lord, in humility, I'll ask the Lord to please come, right? My name Advaita will be fitting if I am able to induce Krishna to inaugurate the movement of the chanting of the holy name. Why is Advaita Acharya thinking this way? His name is Advaita, means he's non-different from the Lord. So he's thinking, if I, Advaita, am actually Advaita, I should be able to get the Lord here. If I'm non-different from the Lord, I have to be able to get the Lord here. Right? Then my name will have some meaning, he's saying. Then I'm actually Advaita. Right? While he was thinking about how to propitiate Krishna by worship, the following verse came to his mind. So this verse is from the Gautamiya Tantra, right? He says, Tulasidala matrena jalasya kulukena va vikrinite swam atmanam bhaktebhyo bhaktavatsala. Sri Krishna, who is very affectionate towards his devotees, sells himself to a devotee who offers himself mere tulsi leaf and a palmful of water. This is the verse that Advaita Acharya thought. Yeah, the word exactly is there, vikrinite. Vikrinite means sells. To actually, like, you're completely selling something, vikrinite. Right? So he completely sold himself. He completely sells himself to someone who offers with love tulsi and water. And so Advaita Acharya, remembering this verse from the Gautamiya Tantra, Advaita Acharya, considering the meaning of this verse in this way, considered the meaning of the verse in this way, not finding any way to repay the debt he owes to one who offers him a tulsi leaf and water, Lord Krishna thinks, there is no wealth in my possession that can equal a tulsi leaf and water. So this is the way Krishna is thinking. Advaita Acharya is thinking of the way Krishna is thinking of this activity. Right? There's nothing in my possession that can equal. So understanding this verse, right? Advaita Acharya began to worship the Lord in this way. Right? Advaita Acharya says, thus the Lord liquidates his debt by offering himself to the devotee. Considering in this way, the Acharya, means Advaita Acharya, began to worship the Lord. Yeah, Prabhupada mentions in the purport also, he says, Srila Advaita Acharya knew this fact, and therefore he decided to call for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, to descend by worshipping the Lord with tulsi leaves and Ganga water. So this famous picture that we always see of Advaita Acharya worshipping the shalagram with tulsi leaf and Ganga water is this pastime here, right? Thinking of the Lord's lotus feet, he constantly offered tulsi buds, means manjaris, in water from the Ganga. He appealed to Lord Sri Krishna with loud calls and thus made it possible for Krishna to appear. Therefore, the principal reason of Sri Chaitanya's descent is the appeal of Advaita Acharya. The Lord, the protector of religion, appears by the desire of his devotees. Right? So this is the reason why Mahaprabhu came. All the other avatars, they came for a particular reason, to do a particular activity, to please a certain Vaishnava. There's always a Vaishnava who asks the Lord to come. And he comes in the form to perfectly interact with that devotee's love. And so Advaita Acharya's love and Advaita Acharya's request for the Lord to come in such a form brought Mahaprabhu in such a form to perform this activity of preaching by his example. Right? And then we come back to the verse that we read, right? O my Lord, you always dwell in the vision and hearing of your pure devotees. You always live in their lotus-like hearts, which are purified by devotional service. O my Lord, who are glorified by exalted prayers, you show special favor to your devotees by manifesting in the eternal forms in which they welcome you. That end part, right? In which they welcome you. That is the part that makes sense. That is the part that explains to us why the Lord came in this form as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because this is what Advaita Acharya was meditating upon. And the pastime goes that when Mahaprabhu appeared in the house of Sachimata, right, the first people who went to see him was, of course, Sita Thakurani, Advaita Acharya's wife, brought gifts. And then when Advaita Acharya came and saw Mahaprabhu, it was the fulfillment of all his desires. Yes, Mahaprabhu has come. I asked him to come and he came in the form that I was asking him to come in. Right? And then Advaita Acharya had to wait for all of Mahaprabhu's childhood pastimes. He was enjoying them so much, but he was just watching and waiting until the day when Mahaprabhu finally decided, okay, now is the time. Let's distribute love of God. Let's do Sankirtan. So these pastimes are really, really amazing, but they all happen because of the desire of Advaita Acharya. So we really have to understand how important and how compassionate he was, and how devoted he was, how sincere he was, that he was able to bring the Lord. Yeah? He's non-different from the Lord, but he's also the incarnation of the Lord's devotee. So in this way, we have him to thank for everything that we have, for everything that we know, for everything that we can know and learn in the future. And so we should reciprocate that love by sharing what we know, by sharing our great good fortune with everyone else and following his example, right? I was listening to a lecture by Mahaprabhu, I think he just gave a couple of days ago, and he was saying that if we don't have any compassion, we ourselves don't have any compassion, if we ourselves don't have any desire, so to speak, to share our great good fortune or to preach or to help someone in need, then we simply have to imitate. We simply have to follow in the footsteps of our previous acharyas who do have that feeling. So what did Srila Prabhupada do? Right? What did Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur do? What did Srila Gaura Das Babaji do? And like that, we can just follow in their examples and emulate their example. And therefore, we will start developing the compassion that we need to be able to share Krishna consciousness. And as we were talking in the earlier part of the lecture, the first thing we have to do is understand it ourselves. So if we want to help those suffering people in this world who are going through so much misery, especially now, just unbelievable amounts of misery, both materially, spiritually, emotionally, all over the world, we first need to fix ourselves. And Srila Prabhupada pointed out many times that if there's one pure devotee in this world, the whole world becomes affected. Right? When Srila Prabhupada was in this world, you can see what changes happened all over this world, and still happening now. Whether they themselves directly read a book of Srila Prabhupada or not, the change is there in the air. Simply by doing Harinam in a village, that whole village, the ambience, the energy of that village changes for the better. And people will become more pious, people will become more open to spirituality and even look for something greater simply because maybe they heard the holy name one time, or maybe they just live in the place where the holy name was chanted at one point. Right? The power is such. Right? There was even studies, I remember my father used to talk about it a lot, at how when Mahaprabhu was in this world, all over the world, things were happening for the better. Right? The Dark Ages finished when Mahaprabhu advented. Right? When Mahaprabhu came, then the Renaissance started all over the world. People started, philosophers started speaking about spirituality. Art, music, dance, love went all over the world. The Dark Ages of torture and real horrors finished when Mahaprabhu was here. So they didn't have direct association. They didn't even get to hear Mahaprabhu's Mahaprabhu sing or dance or chant. But still the whole world changed. When Srila Prabhupada was here, right, before Srila Prabhupada came to this world, religion, or let's say vegetarianism, reincarnation, all these things were unheard of. But today, there's actually a town somewhere in Israel where I think 5,000-6,000 people are all pure vegetarians. They're vegans, right? All of them. It non-existent before. But simply because the preaching of Srila Prabhupada and the preaching of the devotees, the whole world is starting to change in that way. People are starting to realize, those who are open to it. And so if we want to make a difference and appreciate Advaita Acharya and appreciate how our Acharyas have given us, we should first change ourselves, focus on ourselves, chant, follow the principles, do not become wavered by what's happening all around us, not normalize sinful activity in our own life. Right? The other day, Ramananda Prabhu said how to not become puffed up, right? How to keep this idea of sadhana and not become puffed up is by not normalizing, right? Oh, today I didn't wake up for Mangalarti. Then the next day, oh, it's okay. Anyway, yesterday I didn't go, so today's okay. And then the day after, oh, it's okay. I'll go once a week. And after 1 month, I'll go once a month. After 2 months, I'll go once a year. Right? This compromising and normalizing of sinful activity is so prevalent. And it's so easy to fall into the trap. Today I skipped 1 round. Tomorrow I skipped 2 rounds. Right? Then if you don't finish your 16 rounds after a month of like this compromising, it doesn't even bother you. It doesn't even affect you because you're already so much in a mode of ignorance. You don't see the difference. So we cannot let sinful activity become normal in our lives. We have to read Prabhupada's books and chant our rounds and follow the four regulative principles. And then we will be very much on guard to any kind of maya that tries to enter our lives. Yeah? And then we'll be appreciating what Advaita Acharya has done for us. And he, as the super soul, as Paramahamsa, will see our activities and will be proud of us. And we can think in that way. He's in everyone, right? As Mahavishnu. So he sees our suffering and he's wishing us to do better. So we should appreciate his sacrifice and his devotion by following it ourselves. And then in that way, we can show our gratitude. There's a story that I also wanted to share, which is Srila Prabhupada. Before he came to America, he used to go to Shantipur, to the house of Advaita Acharya, where this shalagram of Advaita Acharya is worshipped till today. Still there, yeah. Beautiful shalagram. And so the story goes that this story was told by the pujari of the Advaita Acharya, Advaita Gar, the house of Advaita Acharya. So I'll just read the story. The story is called "A Lifetime in Preparation." It was taken from a Back to Godhead magazine. So just recently, an amazing realization occurred to me that I wanted to share with devotees everywhere. This is the Pujari speaking. I have been a Pujari at the house of Advaita Acharya for many, many years. I was also there back in the 40s and 50s. And at that time, I noticed that one Grihastha Bengali devotee was coming to the temple quite regularly. He was dressed in a white khadi, dhoti and kurta. Khadi means cotton. And he always came alone. He would sit in the back of the mandir without speaking and would chant Harinam on his mala very quietly and deeply. He came on the weekends, usually once every month or two. After chanting there for many hours, he would always thank me and he left. His presence was profound and I became attracted to him. Since his devotions were solitary, I never spoke to disturb him. Means because he was always in the corner chanting quietly, the Pujari never wanted to disturb him, but he noticed him. Sometimes I happened to notice that while he was chanting, his eyes would be filled with tears. Then for a long time he did not come, but in August 1965, I saw a saffron-clothed sannyasi sitting in the back of the mandir, and I recognized him to be my old friend. Again he sat for a long time chanting Hare Krishna. I could see his beads moving. His eyes were closed and in concentrated devotion. He was weeping unabashedly, like just crying while he was chanting, not trying to hide it in any way. Even more than he used to, while he took the holy name. Finally, as evening came, he paid his dandavat pranams for a long time, and then he arose. He came up to me and again thanked me for my seva here at the Advaita Bhavan. I asked him, "Who are you? I remember you from so long ago." He replied, "My name is Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. I am an unworthy disciple of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Srila Prabhupada, my Divine Master. I have been coming here for such a long time because my Gurudev has given me an impossible mission. His desire was for me to go across the ocean to the Western countries and spread the sublime teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are countless souls there who have never heard of Sri Sri Radha Krishna, and so they are suffering greatly. I have not known how this mission of his will be successful, so I have been coming here to this special house of Advaita Acharya, where he, Nityananda Prabhu, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would gather together and plan the Sankirtan movement. It was here that they launched the inundation of love of God that swept India and continues to this day. Thus I have been praying very earnestly here that they will give me their mercy, and somehow they will empower me to guide me. I want to satisfy my Gurudev's desire, and I am feeling unqualified to do this." As he was speaking to me, I saw tears falling down his cheeks. Then he continued, "Tomorrow I am leaving for Calcutta to go upon a ship across the ocean to America. I do not know what will befall me there, but I am praying most earnestly for their help." Then he very humbly asked me for my blessings, and I was moved by this Vaishnava's sincerity and determination, and I watched him depart upon his journey. It was a few years later that I began noticing for the first time white Vaishnavas coming to Advaita Bhavan. They were wearing dhotis and saris and chanting on Tulsi Mala. I never spoke to any of them, but one of them gave me a Back to Godhead magazine from America. As I looked at the photographs, I suddenly recognized the picture of the founder Acharya who had brought Krishna consciousness to the West. It was my friend, Bhaktivedanta Swami, who had come and prayed here so many years before. Then I realized that he had actually accomplished that impossible mission of his Gurudev. I saw that it was he, starting alone with pretense, who had accomplished this glorious miracle against all odds. As soon as I saw this, I came here to the Mayapur temple to tell you this information. I know that he has gone from this world now, but I thought perhaps you might want to know the story about your beloved Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Advaita Acharya ki jai. So Srila Prabhupada used to go there and chant. It's a beautiful temple if you ever get a chance. And Advaita Acharya Shalagram is still there that he used to worship. It's a beautiful little shalagram. Oh, I mean, that big, like this. Beautiful shalagram. And there's always big tulsi, and he's always wet from Ganga Jal. I don't know if they bathe him a few times a day, but every time I gone, morning or evening, he's always like freshly shiny, like freshly bathed. So maybe they still to this day offer him many times a day Ganga Jal. But I thought we could share the story, and there's so many pastimes of Advaita Acharya. I hope during the day you'll listen and hear more lectures and pastimes of different activities that he performed. But today I thought better just to speak on his glories as in his devotion and what he's done for us. Yeah? So Sri Advaita Acharya ki jai. If there's any questions or comments, it will be most appreciated. Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, it's funny because normally, Advaita Acharya, he was praying for Mahaprabhu, and when the Lord appeared, he was aware, more or less, but he was not sure. And then when Vishwarup came to his house to lecture on Bhagavad Gita or listening to his lectures, and sometimes then Vishwambhar came to pick him, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and he thought, who is this personality? And then finally when and he said us the story that, when he appeared, he and his wife were the first one who came to greeted him. But somehow it seems like Advaita Acharya didn't act on it, or, either he was not aware, or he waited till he is installed. And then at one point when Nityananda came to Navadvip, Mahaprabhu sent Ramai, the brother of Shivas, and said, get Nara, he called him Nara, get Nara, tell him, I have come. And he should come immediately with his wife and worship me. That's why when they celebrate Vyasa Puja. Yeah. And then Advaita Acharya, he didn't also come immediately, he just waited in, I don't know in which house. He waited in the house and waited till the Lord calls him. So there was a game of back and forward between them to recognize each other and accept each other to this point that he made Mahaprabhu punch him or beat him up actually.
Yeah, when he was preaching in Mayavad philosophy.
Yeah, but he didn't do this because he was convinced. He wanted to show who is the Lord and who is because Mahaprabhu was, of course, respectful to him because he was the godbrother of his guru.
Yeah, it was a very interesting time when Mahaprabhu was doing his child activities, but also when he became Nimai Pandit. Many of the senior Vaishnavas would avoid the association of Mahaprabhu at that time, right? They wouldn't want to enter into discussions with him because, of course, Mahaprabhu was so skilled, and being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he would argue with them so powerfully that even though they were fully convinced in their devotional service and their belief, Mahaprabhu was so expert that he could even defeat their arguments with, jnana, with knowledge, with logic. And so they would avoid associating with Mahaprabhu because of that reason, that he was showing this different kind of pastime. He wasn't yet freely distributing love of God. And so there's descriptions in Chaitanya Bhagavat of Advaita Acharya also, waiting for Mahaprabhu. Advaita Acharya was even praying that please Krishna make Nimai Pandit a devotee, because if he was a devotee, he would be able to make the whole world a devotee, right? So even though he was still half convinced that yes, this is the person I was praying for, he wasn't like 100% sure. There's this funny pastimes that happen in between. And I encourage you all to please listen to them, read them. They're easy to find online, on YouTube. There's so many classes. Even live classes that are happening right now in different parts of the world, people are speaking about Advaita Acharya. So today during the day you can just have it playing and listen. But it's very, very amazing pastimes. And then after Mahaprabhu decided to start preaching, then they really came together, became one, started doing the night kirtans in Srivasangam, started planning what they're going to do. And then the movement really took off, as you would say. But it's very beautiful pastimes. There's too many pastimes, so many pastimes to do with Advaita Acharya. I'm not prepared with so many. I'm not so prepared for Advaita Acharya's pastimes.
Advaita Acharya, he was also, he was quite funny personality. They had a humorous relationship with each other. It was not that they were all serious and kind of, they were, although he was older and respected by everybody, he was also a little bit, we would nowadays maybe say goofy or something like that.
Yeah, Advaita Acharya was a lot older than Mahaprabhu. I think he was already like 80-something when Mahaprabhu started the Sankirtan movement in earnest. But yeah, there were so many different pastimes. A small or short one that I can say is when Mahaprabhu finally decided, after he got initiated by Iswara Puri and Varanasi, then he came back to Mayapur. Mahaprabhu was so much in ecstasy of love of God that it was difficult for him to separate when he entered into a trance or when he was actually, let's say awake in that way. And so many times he would fall into ecstasy and he would think he's in Vrindavan, or he would start running to Vrindavan because he didn't, he was so much in separation from the Lord. So one pastime is that Mahaprabhu, he became so determined to go to Vrindavan that he started running to Vrindavan. But Advaita Acharya knew that Mahaprabhu is not supposed to go there yet. Mahaprabhu is supposed to start the Sankirtan movement here. He's not supposed to go there yet. So he told Nityananda Prabhu to go and tell Mahaprabhu that he has arrived in Vrindavan and that he should bathe in the Yamuna, which was the Ganga, and then bring him to my house and we'll have prasadam. Right? So Nityananda Prabhu dressed up as a cowherd boy and he went to the other side of the Ganga and he was waiting for Mahaprabhu. And when Mahaprabhu came and saw Nityananda Prabhu, he was like, "Oh, Balaram, finally I made it to Vrindavan." And so Nityananda Prabhu said, yes, you made it. Please take a bath in the Ganga. We have to go take our lunch. Yashoda Mata is waiting. Nanda Maharaj is waiting. We have to go take our lunch. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu jumped in the Ganga, took a bath, and then they got on a boat and they crossed the Ganga, and on the other side was waiting Advaita Acharya. And so when Mahaprabhu saw Advaita Acharya, he realized the trick that they got played, He was on his way to Vrindavan, but they tricked him, and now they took him somewhere else. So he, humorously rebuked Advaita Acharya. He says, "You're playing tricks on me. This is not right." And so Advaita Acharya took Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu to his house and fed him an amazing feast. The descriptions are there of what he prepared. I think more than 64 different preparations. Advaita Acharya was famous in that way that when he would cook, he would constantly be singing, and he could prepare what 10 brahmanas could prepare in an hour, he could prepare in 1 hour. What 10 professional cooks could prepare, he could prepare in an hour. He was just unbelievably skilled in his devotional service in the kitchen. And when he finished cooking, it said that his kitchen would be more clean than when he started cooking. He would be cleaning and cooking at the same time. I don't know how it's possible, but Advaita Acharya could do it. And then he fed Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu. He made big piles of rice and different ingredients, and they ate so nicely there in his house. And then they did kirtan, they did so many different activities. But this is just a very short pastime of how Advaita Acharya, once Mahaprabhu already kind of entered into that move of pure love of Godhead and entered into his pastimes, Advaita Acharya was still kind of guiding his pastimes. So they happen in the right way. It's kind of like the same character that Jambavan plays in the pastimes of Ramayana. Jambavan knows what's going to happen. Jambavan knows everything that happens in Ramayana because he's been there for many, many yuga cycles. But he's guiding them. He's like, okay, now is the time Sita's going to get taken. Now is the time Hanuman has to find him. And then he reminds Hanuman about his powers every single time. But what's so amazing is that Jambavan is just as enthusiastic, even though he's probably seen Ramayana millions of times. It's ever fresh. He's ever excited. He's always so eager to see what's going to happen now. Because there's small differences. Sometimes Ramachandra, he kills Ravana with Sudarshan, sometimes with an arrow, sometimes with a sword, sometimes with some branch. So Jambavan's so eager. So Advaita Acharya, he was also, even though he knew what Mahaprabhu is going to happen now and what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, he was still so eager to serve Mahaprabhu in that way. And he was guiding the pastimes of Mahaprabhu so they happened in the right way and as they were supposed to. So we'll finish here. And please, please, please listen, read more about Advaita Acharya today. And you'll hear many amazing pastimes, hopefully. And we can begin to appreciate him a little bit more and think about him a little bit more. It makes our life a little bit more meaningful. So when we come in the morning and we see his picture, we'll think about those pastimes. We'll think about what happened, what he did for us. Yes, Sanjay Prabhu.
I have a question, and I have to say a little few small things.
Sure.
Recently, there was one disciple of Srila Prabhupada visited here, and he emphasized the importance of Lord Shiva in order to enter Vrindavan, the Gopeshwara Mandir. And he very much propagated that personality and its importance. And then we were discussing that topic, and then it also came that Advaita Acharya is also considered Sada Shiva, and with that potency. So, but then I was thinking that Advaita Acharya is on the Chaitanya side of the Chaitanya Lila. And another thing I heard once from your spiritual master, if I remember correctly, was quoting Srila Rupa Goswami, who said that there are 5 personalities who can give entrance to Vrindavan, to a soul. That is Gopeshwara Mahadev, Yamuna Devi, Purnamasi, Vrinda Devi, and Govardhan. So I was wondering, is it that one day this personality of Gopeshwara Mahadev will be supremely important for us to
So if
make
it's
progress?
like a level?
Or is it can you go this way or that way or the other way, or how is it?
No, any one of those personalities can give you entrance. It's not that it's kind of like you have to go one gate, then the next gate, then the next gate. It's not like that. But of course, if you think about those 5 personalities, they're all part of our devotional service, right? Whether we think about it or not. But when you come into the Dham, when you come to, especially Vrindavan Dham, all those personalities are involved in your entrance, let's say, right? Tulsi Maharani, we're serving her every day here, Tulsi Puja, right? Yamuna Devi, the Holy Dham, the rivers, right? Ganga Mata, we're serving them, and then we're able to get into the Holy Dham. She was there. Without his permission, we don't get in, and he sees our devotion. So it's not that, of course we should, let me say how to say this without misunderstanding. It's not that we shouldn't go to him and pay obeisances to him directly, but let's say a devotee who's just only thinking, I want to see Krishna. He doesn't know about all these pastimes. He doesn't know about the Gopeshwar Mahaprabhu is even there, the Gopeshwar Mahadev is there. So, but still, Shiva will see his devotion and will let him into the Holy Dham. Understand? So they all take part. It's not like you have to go level to level. You can direct your devotion through one of them, and you will be able to enter the Holy Dham. But they're all encouraging us and helping us in our devotion, whether we realize it or not.
So knowingly or unknowingly,
the focus has to be on
receive the blessings.
Exactly. But of course, it's so helpful to worship them and to serve them to be able to get their blessings. But the sincerity is the important feature. Right, that we want their mercy, we want to see Krishna, we want to serve the Lord, and therefore they're happy to help in every way, like that. And yes, Advaita Acharya is also, there's 2 personalities inside of Advaita Acharya. You have Sadashiva and Mahavishnu. But if you look at it as the form of creation, they both come from Sankarshan, right? So it's basically that expansion of the Lord. And so those energies are right, I mean, not those energies, those expansions of the Lord are right there. Mahavishnu and Sadashiva. So therefore, it's kind of a yogurt and milk analogy, that they're the same. And so they're both there in Advaita Acharya as this perfect devotee, the Shiva aspect, and Mahavishnu being the Lord himself. The greatest devotee is the Shiva, right? Sadashiva, so he's there. And it's always specified when they talk about Advaita Acharya, it's Sadashiva who's at Vaikunta. So they're always specified that. It's like every time they talk about Shiva is there, it's Sadashiva. So it's not Shiva Rudra who comes into this world, right? It's Sadashiva. So therefore it's a direct expansion of Sankarshan. And as Mahavishnu, therefore he is Paramatma as Aniruddha. So he's in everyone's heart. So, but yeah, it's quite an interesting topic when you talk about the tattva of Advaita Acharya, because then you enter into Shiva tattva, and Shiva tattva is a very complex tattva, right? It's like Guru tattva, Shiva tattva. It's yeah. But if you want to read about that, there's so many different places you can find quotes and descriptions that you can look for today, and then also so many pastimes. But I hope that made sense. But yeah, those devotees, they're always there looking to help everyone come closer to Krishna. So in Mayapur, we have also 4 different Shiva deities that are protecting the holy Dham, right? And so in Navadip Manda Parikram, we go and we pay respects to them. But most devotees don't even know they exist. But still, they're able to enter the holy Dham because Shiva sees the sincerity. Yeah, so they're happy to see someone serving Krishna. It's not like, no, you need to come to me first and get my blessings, otherwise you can't go there. No, it helps. It's showing respect. But at the same time, if you don't know anything about that and all you know is Krishna, still you'll be able to go. Make sense? They're not proud. They're not egoistic that no, you have to come to me or you cannot go there. They're not egoistic. They have no desire for fame themselves. But they are sources of pure love and facilitators for devotion and entrance into the Dham, if that makes sense.
They will understand our lack of...
Yeah, they will understand. They will understand our lack of knowledge, exactly. And they will appreciate your devotion. And then through service in the Dham, you'll come to know about them and you'll appreciate their help, that they did help you, even though you didn't know about it. Understand? It's like many people, we put Tulsi on the boga every day and we don't realize actually how she's helping us, right? We can't do anything. We think, oh, look at this sabji I made, so tasty. I put cream and paneer today. Krishna only sees Tulsi. That's all. He sees the love. This devotee has no love, but Tulsi's there, so I'll accept it, right? We can't give anything, but we're like, okay, Tulsi, you please give it, right? I can't even give the proper analogy, but it's kind of, you imagine that you have someone that you have no interaction or no relationship with, you don't know them at all, but you want to get to know them, so you give it to their son, give this to your father, please, and then the father accepts it through the son. The father doesn't know, you, but through the son you have an entrance, you have a way to get to the Lord. So the same way Tulsi, she has all the love in the universe that she can give the Lord. So what she's doing for us daily, we have no idea. We chant on our rounds, we keep our bead bag everywhere, we don't realize. But it's so important that we're touching Tulsi Maharani while we're chanting the holy name. What it does for us, we don't realize. And so by practice, we will come to realize what she's doing for us, how amazing she is, how amazing, the holy Dham is, how much it helps us. And so therefore we'll be able to, appreciate them. But they're always helping us whether we realize it or not. Shiva is always facilitating our service to the Lord. He's Ashutosh, so just a small amount of service to the Lord, and he's so appreciative that he will encourage us much more. Yeah. Jai. Okay. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki, Advaita Acharya ki, Jai Nitai Gaur Prabhupada.
Una pregunta. Hay una cosa, en el guest house, una de las duchas se cayó, o sea, donde va enganchado el mando de la ducha. Sí, no sé si se podría mirar, porque, o sea, creo que es un tornillo.